Hey, VJ. Hey, Solly. Hey, Wusheng. Hey, VJ.
Hi John, how you
Hi,
doing?
Joe.
Good. Hi. Um, we waiting on Indra Bakir.
Yeah, Arsema too.
Okay. Well, maybe like we created those groups, so I don't know, Solly. I think what we want to do in general is send reminders in those groups, like manually. If the team leads are going to be sending reminders to people, we shouldn't. I know we shouldn't have to, but um,
Yeah, actually, yeah, instead of doing it manually, we can also automate this, by the way, using Discord webhooks and some automations. So it's going to work like when it's the time when the meeting takes place on Discord calendar, we are going to detect that and then send the reminder in the relevant team channels.
yeah, yeah, that would be good. And um, yeah, and I've also been thinking about uh, since you brought that up, um, the reminders, the notifications.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, Can can we? Yeah, I'm thinking about like our capability to send different notifications based on who it's from. So,
Yeah, that's
like,
also possible. But how it will look like? For example, how will the reminder of a multimodal perception team will differ from, for example, IoT team?
well, I think the notification. What I was thinking about is the sound actually of the notification.
Ah, mhm.
Because like what triggered me, I lost track of time, and then I heard a notification, and I checked Discord, and I mean, I checked the time, and I was like, oh shit, I'm late, and so I like then I clicked and I saw your message on Discord, but um, but yeah, because I've been thinking like it's very sometimes it's kind of annoying to sit and like getting a lot of notifications, and it's like, and I don't know who the notifications are from. Usually, I'm not, I'm in meetings or whatever, and um, yeah, and I'd like to, like, oh, like if we could send a notification, like, yeah, based on who the is sending the notification, or potentially, like, yeah, it could be a different sound. It could also be a sound that's, hey, the meeting's starting, or if it's a meeting notification or something like that. I don't know if that's possible to do that.
Yeah, actually, there are like two cases for Discord. It's not because Discord doesn't provide us the access to change the notification sound. But what else we can do is to implement this feature on FlowBrain website.
Yeah. Yeah. So on the notifications, I think on the notifications, I guess it's the notifications are different. Yeah, because I just heard that notification, and I think that there's another notification sound. Uh, I guess different apps have different notifications. If you're getting notifications from Facebook or LinkedIn or a different app, then the sound is going to be different when it notifies you on your phone.
Yeah, it's different.
Okay, because see, I heard that here on my computer, and now I one on my phone says ding, 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 someone's at your door, so I don't know. See, it's not very user friendly. I should know
Yeah,
this, right? And I get one on here that says one thing, and then here on my computer it says something else. And it's like, um, so I think, yeah, for me as a user, like, see, I get notifications and I know, okay, that's because of this, because you're hearing, but you're not necessarily checking to see what it is, or you got to like, if there's friction, you got to go check to see. Why can't you just hear what the notification is about? So if you want to take action and then do something rather than just constantly hearing notifications, you don't know. It's like a big mess.
I think there is a feature on um, our phones that it can uh, say out loud what is the notification.
Well, there is.
Yeah, I don't remember quite well how to turn it on, but it just says the notification, for example, if it was a Discord message, so it's going to say like um, notification from Discord in the message of the notification based on what the app offers as notification.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll go search for that later and see how that works. Mm,
And
but yeah,
I, I don't know if it was disabled by now because it was a while back that I've used it. It's more an accessibility feature for people who can see.
interesting. I think that would be a good feature for people that could see also. Sounds like. Uh, mhm.
Yeah, myself, I don't have my turn notifications on. Like, it's always on silent mode. I don't like notification sounds.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, sometimes because they become unbearable because you have so many notifications, but if you can, uh, kind of, yeah, manage them properly where you get notifications of what you really want to get notifications of, you know, that would be the ideal scenario. And, mm, because I mean, yeah, that's why a lot of people, I mean, I had turned off notifications because I was just notifications. I was like, then there's some notifications that I want, but they're not, it's kind of difficult to manage them. But yeah, I think with FlowBrain, we definitely want to maybe kind of do customized notifications and kind of make that a feature, um, that we can differentiate ourselves and you know would be helpful for people because yeah, depending on which channels, like Discord now, which channels or who it is, or um, if I'm late to a meeting, I may want to hear that, but I might not want the reminder at the beginning or whatever. But even when I get the message, right then I want to, hey John, you're late to the meeting by 8 minutes, or so there's like some context to the message, and it's not just, oh, I don't know what that message is, so let me check. Mm. But okay, well, we can add that to the list. Indra, if you can kind of look at the kind of that requirement docs for FlowBrain, and if you can add that kind of a customized, comprehensive, customized notifications feature, um, we can have that as kind of one of the things. I don't know if there's open source notification apps that are out there or something.
yeah, there
There's
must be, by the way, because there are really open source alternatives for literally everything. Or what we can do is to find a priced one, and we can do reverse engineering on this.
Okay, well, let's have that on the list of things to do. Yeah, and when we're talking about this, Andrew, just FYI, we were having a meeting earlier, and yeah, just it was in the data team meeting, and we were discussing the, we're moving from HubSpot to another solution because it's less expensive, and but the plan is to use an open source CRM. I think Oliver was trying to have another app that he was going to build with OpenClaw that really didn't get any traction, I guess, and he's trying to do something on Ephestos for the. I mean, yeah, I don't know. He's trying to build a whole mini CRM, I guess, but there's some CRM, open source CRMs that are out there that are pretty robust and have a big community. Sally kind of researched a little bit in the data meeting, and we want to put that on the back end of not just for us or for our things, but for FlowBrain. So our customers have CRM integrated into FlowBrain that they can use, and really like that. And there's another app that we found, because as far kind of the legal buddy, I want like the main feature of the legal buddy to be kind of e-signatures, legal agreements. DocuSign is coming out with their AI strategy, and they're focusing on something for people that have a lot of agreements, that they can manage their agreements better, and they can kind of update. They know when an agreement's about to end or renew, and stuff that can be very useful for companies. But um, but but basically, kind of stage one is just like having kind of DocuSign, uh, where right now, we're paying a monthly fee for DocuSign. We were paying for the other one before, it was like $100 a month, um, and now this one's a little cheaper, um, but yeah. So I think kind of we found an open source. There's actually several open source that do that. They're e-signature, and they come with all the stuff, security, country securities, different regions, and they're pretty, comprehensive. But that, and then of course we've found for the video and chat open source that's being used by quite a few, organizations, and so a lot of this stuff that's out there right now is, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to want to integrate in FlowBrain, provide features and functionality, and kind of looking at what are those, the things that as we want to create FlowBrain and just use stuff that's open source, that has a big community that we can just plug and play, basically. And then if we want additional features, since it's open source, we can build them, or over time, the community, if they have a big enough community, they're going to be building stuff, and some of those people are going to be launching features on the open source products that will benefit us. So, trying to just aggregate as many open source things on the back end. We don't want to develop our things ourselves if possible. One of the things, um, yeah, Oliver was trying to do for example, on the part of the CRM was to do on eFestos where people could come and fill out these forms, but it's there and kind of like with our master classes, instead of putting them on Notion, with it kind of being they call it these learning applications where you kind of go through and watch and have data analysis, see what people watched, how much they watched of it, and then go to the next step. And it's instead of like having emails or instead of having forms, it would be kind of an integrated form. You've probably been on one of those, different online platforms. Um, but yeah, so I'm sure there's like an open source version of that. Uh, that we could also integrate on the back end. Um, but yeah, so I think like we were just talking about kind of the strategy to cobble together the best open source platforms and that we can integrate on FlowBrain. Any thoughts about that? I- Maybe I'm not sure if we discussed it in the past, kind of as an approach to follow.
About the document signing, we actually talked about this. Like I remember you sent me some open source tool for this. So I took a look at that and it was really good. So we can basically use it and it's really useful and easy to install, easy to integrate. Yeah, better said. And apart from that, we talked about some open source things, but there's also one thing. So we can of course find an alternative for a price solution with open source. So there are really open source alternatives for everything. But in case if we don't, so what we can do is to like we can basically like reverse engineer it. So there's a new technique for this. So, for example, when you see a new, like a repository that may cost or some private thing or a website, so we basically put that in Git reverse. So it's something that was developed recently, and it gives us the comprehensive prompt for this. So if we just get that in a prompt and paste it, so we can build a similar thing ourselves. So there are also some similar tools like this that we can use to replicate a priced application or website or some solution. And that's also possible.
Okay, well, I'm not really sure. I mean, you need to kind of talk us through that again. I'm not really clear on how we would reverse engineer something. How we would be able to do it to something that's not open source.
There's a technique for this. Like you basically get the like mock-up of the website. No, not video. Yeah, there's a kind of a tutorial or showcase about like how we replicate Spotify, for example. You get the prompts of the mock-up design of that application, and when you put that in prompt, for example, in cloud, and you add some extra tools like extra things. That's a technique actually that was also developed recently, and so cloud can basically build that with all the functionalities and the same design.
Okay, well, I'm not sure I would call that reverse engineer. That would just be what you're
Yeah,
saying is just copying the features and functionality and having an AI create the back end to those features and functionality to the front end and the front end, I guess. I mean, it's
yeah, that's a new technique for like not not directly reverse engineering, but yeah, it's also possible. Like it's something that maybe considered.
okay. Well, if you find something that we can do that with, and then I can kind of better understand whether something like that that would be a good solution for us. I mean, at the end of the day is, yeah, no, I understand. I mean, okay. Indra, any thoughts?
Not really. I don't know a lot about that.
Hmm. Any thoughts about kind of the open source kind of strategy and just to use whatever open source applications that we can plug into the back of FlowBrain?
Yeah, I think if there is something that already exists and works well, I don't see a reason not to use it.
Hmm. Yeah, it seems like probably by now, like almost everything, there'd be so many things that are open source that are available out there. If we search for it, I know Sally had searched like a month or something ago and found like a bunch of open source stuff. But I guess everything's on GitHub. Is that where you go and you search, Sally? You searched on GitHub for open source?
Yeah, there are some findings about this on GitHub. Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, I have started or like saved it in my list.
Mhm. Okay. Okay, well, I think that sounds good. All right. Well, let's see, we're missing who are Sema and Machi, I guess, right? Are they the only ones?
Not really. Sema gave notice. She said that she won't be able to join in today's meeting.
Uh-huh. Okay, and it's just Machi. That's the other person, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, I guess what's our progress, Indra?
Yeah. We have to talk about three things today. The hyperstack setup, the prompt enhancement, and the duplex model research. Um, let's start with the hyperstack setup. Were you able to talk with Arsema about it, Sally?
Yeah, we talked about it, but there's one bad news, and it's that NVIDIA A100 GPU seems to be out of stock, so we can't deliver it. Should we do something else? Uh, okay, let me share the screen. I will show you something. There's actually one way, but yeah, I need to like learn about you guys' opinion for this. So, wait. So this was the one that was the cheapest, and basically like 100. So just like we talked about later, I mean ago. But it seems to be out of stock, so we can't do it. We can reserve this if you want, but it will take some time. But if you guys want, we can also search for like these alternatives as well. It costs more definitely, and more CPUs, RAM, and so on. But since we are only deploying like a couple of models right now, as I have seen, so yeah, we can also consider these other options. We also have like RTX like this. So should we consider this or yeah, what do you think? Because the current one seems to be out of stock.
Um, for the RTX, would that be? That seems cheap, as I was seeing. Would that
RTX,
be? Yeah.
uh, yeah, that sounds too cheap. But we have lower RAM and lower CPUs and disk. That's why it's
Okay.
cheap.
Should we try other platform like Vest AI?
Uh, we can, yeah, we can take a look at this to see like. I'm not really sure when this is going to be renewed, like the current GPU. I
Mm-hmm.
searched for it, but there's no information about this. If we want to reserve it, we are also going to pay for the reservation, so it
Mm.
might be not really worth. But on Hyperstack, our current like wanted GPU is not unfortunately available.
And if we use the RTX GPU for now, and later if there is a the A100 available, we switch. Is that possible?
Yeah, it's possible, but the thing is that if we just deploy these models on RTX, like the one I showed you, then it's going to be slower. Like there will be really slow action since we are also using multi LLMs and VLMs.
Yeah, so I think the only alternative here would be to use another platform. The ones we saw that were the best.
The alternatives were like Rampart and West AI.
Yeah. You said that RunPod wasn't that user friendly, right?
Yeah, it wasn't user friendly. Like it
So
needs some external setups and more. It's like some complicated setup compared to HyperStack. Because like on HyperStack, when you want to change anything in the LLM design or architecture, and when you want to have some connection, then you can basically get the SSHK and put that on your Visual Studio Code, for example, or Cursor, what you are using. So you can basically get an access to HyperStack on your own IDE. But it's not the case with Rampa.
what about Lambda Labs?
Lambda Labs, isn't it associated with AWS?
I
So
don't know.
it's more expensive than these alternatives.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing here. What about Jarvis?
Jarvis. Yeah, we can take a look at it as well. Jarvis has also some nice stuff, but it wasn't. Let me just see if we have this. Um, oh, Jarvis Labs. Yeah, we have some tools there. Yeah, it seems to be cheaper. So should we consider this?
I think we can go with that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I have found it now. So A100 with 80 gigabytes of RAM would cost like 1.49 dollar per hour.
That's almost the same thing as Hyperstack, wasn't it?
Mm, yeah, approximately. Yeah. Hyperstack is kind of like cheaper, but not really that much.
Okay. So that's okay, I think we can use Jarvis.
Yeah. And if you want to lower the VRAM, like the one that I mentioned about Jarvis was like 80 gigabytes of VRAM, and if you make it like 40 gigabytes, then it will cost like 0.89 dollar per hour.
Which one do you think would serve us better?
If you want speed and like if you want to deploy more models, then 80 gigabytes would be better. So it will be really fast. But it depends on like how many models will be running on these servers and what are the parameters of these models will be. So how big are these models going to be? It depends on this.
Okay. Is it hard to migrate from GPUs?
Can you repeat what you have said? I couldn't hear due to yeah, my
Is it
headphone.
hard to migrate from GPUs? Like, would it
Oh,
be easy to start with a lower RAM and then go up?
yeah, we can do it. It's not hard. Like it's not complicated.
Okay, so I think we can start with that. Would also save us a little bit of money. And for now, we would only have two models, the voice and the vision one.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we can. stay with those two for now.
By the way, I can point out something. So on Jarvis, we don't have a UI, so it's all working on CLAs. And
Okay.
but the thing is that we can deploy these models using like Fast API and some similar stuff. It's also possible and gives us this thing. And creating the GPU environment is pretty basic, by the way. So what you need to do is some like uh, GL create GPU and that's it. It's just running.
Okay.
And to get access, they provide us access to have like get this GPU platform on like Visual Studio Code, SSH Access, Visual Studio Code Web, and so on, and Jupyter Lab also. But if you want, we can also connect to our own IDE.
Yeah, so I think that we can go with Jarvis.
Yeah, okay.
Let me update the task here.
Okay, so one more question. If we get the GPU available on Hyperstack, should we stick to Jarvis still or switch back to Hyperstack?
That's a good question. What would you do?
Yeah, it's a hard question actually. So,
I
what do
think,
you think? That's why, yeah. Uh,
I think we can stick with Jarvis.
yeah, okay, that's good. So everything will be done using CLS on Jarvis. So it's pretty easy.
Okay.
And by the way,
I'm,
for the
I'm,
prompt
I'm sorry,
enhancement,
Sally, I'm sorry, before we move forward, what is CRS?
no, I mean CLA, like terminal, CMD
Oh,
terminal.
okay, terminal, okay, okay.
For the upcoming meeting, should I like prepare documentation about the setup and some pros and cons, or just create the environment directly and deploy the models? So what should be done until the next meeting?
Um, I think it will take a little while for us to purchase it. You
Mhm.
and Narsema would need to contact Mohammed to do it, and um, we can prepare the environment so we can then deploy the models.
Okay.
If you got a little bit more time until next meeting, it would be nice to have a little guide on how to deploy the models. So when we start deploying the voice model and the vision one, we will just
Mhm.
follow that.
That's actually pretty easy. They give us some really cool tutorials and some really easy. So I can just create it in 10 minutes or something like that.
Okay, great. Um, so I will get until May 29 for the deadline. Let me tell her, Sima.
I have also contacted her, by the way, about the GPU availability on HyperStack.
Okay, so contact her again, telling that we're not going to use Hyperstack
Yeah,
anymore. We're going to use Jarvis.
okay. I will have a meeting with her tomorrow or Sunday, depending on her availability.
Okay, great. Now to the next thing. What about the prompt enhancement? How is that coming along?
Yeah, I have finalized it. Actually, let me share the screen.
Yeah.
Um, wait, why it doesn't it share it? Mm, Okay, so I also should I go with the code first and then show the demo or just the demo?
I think you can show the demo and then just go through the overall of the code.
Okay. So uh, UI can be improved. So I actually focus more on functionality of this. So we have actually whether we talked about we have the IR and AE path. So these both paths are actually like JSPAC style and cloud style. So that the first thing I give this prompt. So by the way, we are using Llama model for this using Grok API. I can use something else as well, but I have deployed Llama 3.3, the like 70 billion parameter version of Llama. So what it does basically is that okay, I give this like classification and take forks. So the first thing we are going to detect like if it's research based. So research based means if you are going to use rec and search for the answer on our database, or if it's something like executional. So it classified like we are having the JSON file at then. So intended like AE. So we have the execution path. So I also put like the confidence score of this. And yeah, 90% confidence that this is executional prompt. So I also put the reasoning by the way, so we can make sure like why it's AE or IR. Uh, so this prompt is classified as action execution because it involves a physical action of going to a location and retrieving an item. So that's why it makes sure that it's executional. And his prompt is that navigate to the kitchen, locate at the utensil drawer or storage area, and retrieve forks. Ensure check the correct drawer and storage container to find the forks efficiently. So this is the enhanced prompt. So you can basically copy the JSON or get the enhanced prompt directly from this object. And if we want the reasoning and confidence or so on, so we can also use these things as well. Yeah.
So explain to me where would we be using this prompt enhancement layer?
It will be used before sending the user prompt to LLM on FlowBrain.
Mhm.
So this
Is that gonna be for every output?
not output, input
I'm sorry,
actually.
input, yeah. Yeah, for every input, it would always go to this prompt enhancement layer.
Yes.
Okay, okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
And
Actually,
and
why it exists is that I actually put this like prompt enhancement layer because we sometimes give prompts that are not real that quality and it might not be clear. So in order to prevent FlowBrain make some mistakes due to prompt, so I put like this prompt enhancement layer. So we get a better prompt, like better detailed prompt. So FlowBrain can basically understand what's actually wanted.
and this OpenAI, Claude, uh, and oh, what's the other one? Meta search.
A
Uh,
JSPAC maybe,
no, not GenSpark, the other one.
Gemini.
Um, no, Perplexity. Perplexity.
Perplexity.
It- yeah, I mean, do they use prompt enhancement layer?
Yes. Furthermore, we are also using their own approaches. So what I did basically is that combining the approach of Perplexity and GenSpark and integrating them all in one layer. So this is actually it. So this AI and execution is the approach of GenSpark, and this IR is the approach of Perplexity.
Okay.
So this is the combination of these two.
And what's the difference between the
Yeah.
IR and research and
Mhm.
execution?
So research means that we can get the like we can get the answer from our databases using a reg approach or agent reg approach. So when a user gives a prompt, so if it's IR, then it's going to search for the answers from the DBs. So, but if it's AE, so execution, it's not going to take a look at the vector databases or memories, and it's going to execute the task directly. For example, go to kitchen and take frogs. So this is not something that we can store in memory or database. So it's going to be labeled as AE, so execution, and it will be some executional task. Then it will be connected to the like hardware directly. But if it's IR, then it's going to search for the answers from the vector database, and according to the results that it get, so it's going to enhance the prompt accordingly.
And okay. And I'm not sure, like, why are they using two different approaches?
It's not actually them who are using like two approaches. So since we're actually building something like something general, so it will include both hardware related stuff as well as the software related stuff. So for the hardware things, we are using the approach of GenSpark, and for the software stuff, we are using the approach of Perplexity. So this can also be used on Capo, it means.
Okay. And what does that have to do with prompt enhancement layer, what you just said?
So after we get this enhanced prompt, then this will be gone to the intelligent layer. So where all the models are in, like all the agents or the models are in. So this will be the input to the LLM afterwards. So we are not going to use this anymore, but we will go with this afterwards. So this will be our new input.
I'm lost here. Is it going to be different on Kaipo, whether it's Kaipo or whether it's on the FlowBrain website?
Not real different. So we have the same enhancement layer, but we are classifying the intent, like classifying the action. So on Capo, for example, it will be like more connected to the real world. Like it will be used as a hardware. So for hardwares, we are using the execution layer, like execution intent here. So it's acting something differently actually, based on the intent. But on let's say FlowCloud or FlowBrain or something like software level, we are using the research one. For example, when uh, like this classification and take first, it's using a different approach to enhance this prompt because it's something executional. Like it's not going to search for the answer on memories and vector DBs because it doesn't exist there. It's something executional. So this system, this layer is basically a modular layer. So it has like all the edge cases and other cases as well. So it's not limited to software level. Like it's more than a reg application. I have basically generalized this layer to be compatible with every edge case.
Okay. Indra, does that all make sense to you?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was what Sally did. What exactly it was exactly what I expected actually.
Okay, because yeah, sounds good. I'm not 100% clear with everything. I'm certainly much clearer about this now than I was before. Um, and is there any benefit to doing IR and AE instead of one or the other?
Yeah, of course. So if you don't use execution layer and if you only use research, for example, okay, so imagine that we have the Capo product right now available, and a customer purchased Capo, and it's asking like, hey Capo, so like it orders something that can be executed using the hardware and using the human eyes, let's say. So in order to do this, if you don't use execution layer, then the prompt enhancement layer will look for answer in the vector DB and memory. And since it's not going to find an answer because it's something that a robot can execute or humanoid can execute, so it must be connected to the real world applications. So they we don't store them in memories, and there's no answer for them. So it's not like okay, the answer is this. It's not like this. It's not a question. It's an order. So if you don't use execution, this layer will basically blow up and mess up, and it will work really bad, and it will be confused. And if the prompt even is not clear, then it will make some mistakes. So which is a bad thing because we are like we shouldn't think as a software engineer. So we are actually targeting to everyone. Like our customer doesn't have to be a software engineer. So maybe they don't understand about the prompt engineering and prompt stuff. So it will be just set to a basic sentence that may mislead LLM to execute. So in order to prevent this, we are actually using this prompt enhancement layer.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we can use both of them, both options. I mean, we can do both, not or, because it says or, research or execution. We can do
Yeah.
research and execution. We can do both of them, always do both of them instead of just doing one or the other.
No, I mean it's not meant like this actually. So when you give a prompt, it's either IR or AE. Like I mean
Okay.
this. Yeah, both actually exist in this layer. It's
Okay.
just the intent. Intent can't be like both.
Okay. Okay. I wasn't sure whether they couldn't, you can use both. Okay. Other question, latency. What issues are there with latency when we have this prompt enhancement layer? I mean,
So okay, so since we have two cases, so there are actually two answers to this question. First, firstly, executional path. So for executional path, there isn't really like huge amount of latency. It won't stop the system for like a second or something like that. It's easy. And but for research, like IR intent, what it does is basically to search for the answers from the vector DB and so on, or you can basically connect it to Notion and so on, or and it also uses a different architecture, like different system prompt for the enhancement. So it actually has a different architecture in this case. So it has like more latency compared to execution, but that it's not something so big. So it's not going to stop the system for a second or something like that. It's really low.
okay.
And also
Okay.
depends on how we architect the memories as well. So it all depends on us and how we code, how we design the system, or more like how we optimize the system. But normally it doesn't have that much of latency.
Okay. That sounds good.
Uh, so I can push this code on GitHub so everyone can test it. Or if you have any feedbacks like change this or make this, I can change it and push that on GitHub. So is there any feedback?
I think what you did is exactly what we needed, and I think you can push a and create a pull request.
Yeah, okay.
I will put the task as done.
Hey, VJ, Wusheng, do either one of you all have any thoughts about all of this stuff?
Yeah, I think it's a very great idea. It's like a write the poem, right? I also do the similar things before. So I think this idea is very necessary. And you also asked the question I want to ask, because I also want to ask, is there some case the IR or the ER can at the same time, but you also have asked this question. So I don't have other question about this idea now.
Okay, okay, it's good that you have some experience with that, Wusheng.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, you can do a deep dive and review. I don't know, as part of your onboarding and master classes, I mean, we have the architecture and the design. Sally has upgraded everything recently. So did you have a chance to go through all of that?
Uh, I think I have a time now. I can have a chance to go for that. Yeah.
Okay, that would be great if you can do that. And then if you have any feedback on that, let us know and let Sally know. VJ, any thoughts? We can't hear you. No, we still can't hear you, VJ. You're unmuted, but your mic, maybe is your battery not working or something?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did see some instruction models like from IBM and other, but I haven't tried them. So yeah, yeah, they do use instruction models for prompt enhancement.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Well, I guess everybody will get a chance to test them.
Yeah,
So,
thanks
Yeah,
for the feedback, guys. I'm pushing the code so everyone can have access to code and test it on their own. Yeah, thanks for the feedbacks.
Send the pull request link to the Discord channel so then
Yeah,
everyone can see. Great. Next up is the duplex model for human
yeah,
interaction.
yeah.
Saw Sally
I'm
that you added some
okay.
things.
Yeah, we have some findings. Let me share the screen again. So we prepared like this. So the first thing is that we have found like Personaplex. So it's a product from NVIDIA, but it has some like a very disadvantages that you may consider to not use this. So it's basically like limited, pretty limited, and it's not fully open source. So we need to like we might need to pay for it. So it's not something really free. But it has also some advantages, like it targets a full duplex conversation with role and voice control, and designed for like racial interactions and turn taking. So uh, it's really quality, but it's not open source. So that was the first option. So we also have like duplex cascade, and it has a full pipeline, by the way. So it has a like full speech to speech dialogue with like cascaded ASRs and LLMs TTS. So we don't need to create like two pipelines and combine them together. Like it won't be STT TTS and then TTS to STT. It's not going to be like this. So we have the full control. But the thing is that it may sometimes make mistakes, and it's not really like true end-to-end modeling. But it has basically so we can also build this ourselves, by the way. So it's not a huge advantage, but it's something we can consider. Then Tencent made the same duplex model, I think. So we have the cover audio here, and they claim basically that it's real-time conversations with talking and listening simultaneously. It's like how we actually want it to be. And they said that like they put that it's open source and we can basically download and run this. But we have some issues, not issue, but some disadvantages like here. So it has an independent validation of Douglas metrics may be like unclear. So it's sometimes not really that clear, and we need to check that directly sometimes. Then we actually talked about this, but I said like we still put this. It's the OpenAI real-time API. It costs some money, and with GPT 5.5 also supports this. It's designed for low latency and real-time audio with streaming audio input in the same session. But the thing is that it basically depends on like the quality basically depends on how you actually configure it. And we also have Moshi, And motion is basically like a full duplex spoken dialogue simultaneously user plus external audio streams. It has a low latency. But the thing is that it's pretty much a research heavy deployment. And we need a very high VRAM needs and limited operating system maturity. So this means that if you want to deploy this on not hypersec, sorry, Jarvis, so we need a very high VRAM need. And yeah, and using this in software level isn't something so easy. So it's pretty much a research thing. So not fully software or something like that. And then we have the mini CPM. So they already have like some coding models and so on. But then they also released one for like the duplex multimodals. So it basically just can see, listen, and speak simultaneously. So it's you can think of this as a VLM and LM in the same time, also VLA. So yeah, but setting this up on the operating systems and servers isn't easy. It takes some time and it's not user friendly. So you need to just have an idea about how to do it and what is that about. It needs some not expertise, but yeah, it's pretty complex compared to these other models. And it has some users also like opened an error for on GitHub about the code and frog issues. So it may be painful to yeah, install this and set up this. Then we also have Mini Omni 2. So it's basically a model family from GPT Omni models, also associated with OpenAI. So it provides basically end-to-end voice conversations. It's their real-time and speak-time interruption support. But compared to the other models, it's like less explicit duplex proof. I don't know, sometimes top tier duplex papers. It's not something really production level. So you can think of it as some demo. So yeah, these were the available duplex models.
If it's a demo, why is it in this list?
Can you repeat that?
I mean, if it's a demo, why do you have it
Uh-huh.
in this list?
Because it's from like OpenAI and they are developing this further. So it has some potential to be good. So yeah, we may want to take a look at this because it's still under the OpenAI is still developing this further.
OpenAI is?
It's GPT Omni, like Mini Omni 2.
Okay.
It's a new duplex model from the Omni models. OpenAI has already a duplex model like GPT 5.5 and some GPT models, but in Omni level models they didn't have, so they built this one.
Okay. Well, yeah, from my point of view, we need to have websites, companies that are using those,
Mm-hmm.
and like we should test them out. So if it's 11 labs or whoever, I mean, and then we get on and test them and talk to them and see what, you know, so we can get a real example of how we can interact with them and how they sound. Um,
Mm-hmm.
for example, I mean, when I was using ChatGPT the other day, and I was with a few people, and can't, someone was talking in the background, and it kept on, cutting in and out, like it was so. Like, what's it listening to, for example, um, and then sometimes it's yeah, sometimes duplex, because of maybe the background or multiple people around, or maybe you're trying to talk to it or something, and there's periods where it didn't work very well under certain situations. And then also when I would use it for a long time, it would drop to a different voice model. And I assume that's because one is more expensive to use, and then they drop you down to a less expensive solution. Every 24 hours, I think they give you, at least on I got the $20 a month plan. They and I don't, maybe they changed this now because I can't remember the last time when I used it for that long, but I mean, when you're talking to it for like constantly for an hour or something, or a certain amount of, chat, discussions, conversations, it would drop you down to a lower version. So have you researched that? Are you familiar with that, Sally?
Yeah. So also, by the way, there are some open source alternatives to this as well. Like some companies are already using it, such as like WhisperFlow also is something. But yeah, we can basically test this and see how they actually work in production level. So okay, we made some researches with research like this, and some of them are yeah, we can actually test this and see how they actually work in real situations and whether they are good for our needs or not.
Mhm. Okay, I think that would be good, and I think we could, and after there's some internal testing, yeah, it would be good
Mhm.
to have like in one of our meetings to actually do the testing so we can all be in the same testing and hear the difference. And because yeah, this is like so important.
Yeah,
Voice is the future, and we really want to learn about it and learn together and understand it and see how it evolves, because what we're using now, tomorrow we might use something different and the day after something different because the technology is just, um, iterating quite quickly. I think it will and will continue.
yeah, definitely. We need to catch up with these updates, and we need to like follow the trends, like what's going on in world.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds great. Uh, yeah, Indra, any thoughts? I'm sorry, I kind of interjected there.
Just a minute, I think someone's at my door.
Oh, what did she say? She's gonna be
I am
back.
from
Oh,
the
I think she said someone's at her door. And Sally, what about costs?
yeah, course. So some of them are open source, like Moshi is open source, and some like mini CPN, and they're open source. But the OpenAI ones are not open source, so they cost money. So yeah, and the cost is not. It's like 50 bucks, yeah, 50-ish bucks or something like that. If they didn't update this, and the Omni model was pretty recent, so yeah, I can actually add the cost here as well. But some of them are open source, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and there's a cost for open source. So open source, what's it going to cost us, right? GPU?
yeah, GPU. But since we already need a GPU for this, like open like Jarvis. So yeah, we might not actually. Yeah, it's a good option to track the token usage, and so on. But if we deploy that on our own servers, so since we are also going to do it for other cases, so we can actually put that there as well. But the token usage will be like more than normal LLMs or normal agentic approaches, since it's like fully end-to-end duplex model.
Hmm. Okay. Well, let's yeah, that sounds good. And the other thing is, again, research, who's using what. And I think we need to do this for everything, basically, because on the other thing we talked about it, and even on this, like we need to understand, OpenAI, Claude, Grok. um, you know, uh, all of the potential, the top competitor sites, Perplexity, um, GenSpark, what are they using? What are they using? And so we want to kind of try to understand the top frontier models and the top aggregators. And, because, yeah, of course, the aggregators, I mean, they're new entrants, Perplexity, GenSpark. I would, they're not going to have maybe the financial resources, let's say, to fund. I don't know if, like, again, the model that say Claude has and OpenAI, if they're like are they selling for cheaper than what their costs are? And they're basically, investing in their revenue from per customer that's going to come a year or 2 years from now. So for every customer, the GPU costs and whatever, um, costs an average of $15, and they're charged, or an average of $25, and they're charging $20. So they're taking $5 losses on each customer. A lot of companies do that, right? Customer CAC, customer acquisition cost, and LTV, lifetime value, the value of a customer. You're going to keep a customer on average for 3 years, let's say. So you're funding the first year and a half, and you're making your money off the second year and a half. But they also have labor costs. So I don't know, like they're definitely taking losses, right? Because they're raising money, they're raising billions. So, and their employees are in San Francisco and et cetera. So they're taking losses because that's the whole purpose of investment, because you invest, you're hiring people and your office and whatever other expenses that you have. So yeah, just to understand from an affordability standpoint, can we break even and make a little bit of money if we take out labor costs? Since we don't have labor costs, let's say we don't have office space, we're bootstrapped, and we're so yeah. So just got to want to try and understand that, to be able to understand our numbers and our financial situation. I mean, so yeah. Anyway,
It makes sense.
go ahead. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
so I couldn't. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I said so.
Okay. So I said like you're actually pretty right on this. So it's actually like we also need to consider the key points that you also mentioned. So yeah, there are actually pretty important things to consider as well in this case, apart from the duplex model quality and so on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The cost of that, because it's an additional cost to the token usage, or just if someone's chatting, right? It's not free. So there's an additional cost for using voice, right?
For price models, yes. For open source, no. By the way, so the companies and some free models, like you can chat with Gemini for free on internet with their basic model. But what companies are doing right now is to increase these prices. So per token or per like 1 million token or something like that, they increase the prices of these. And some free models also have limitations right now, like what Google did.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but even say open source is free, but it's still not free because the open source models is still a cost to us because we're going to pay additional in processing fees and in processing GPU, whatever. It's so there's a
Yeah, yeah,
cost to that.
yeah. We only have this cost. Like we are not going to pay for them to use their models. But when we deploy it on our own server, then yes, we need to track the token usage as well.
Yeah,
But
okay.
we are not
Okay.
like paying external cost for the model, only the processing.
Okay. Well, I understand. I understand. Um, yeah, and what about 11 Labs?
11 Labs has really good quality models. They also cost, but they are cheaper than the OpenAI's models, and yeah, they are known to be one of the best models on like voice agents. But the
Hmm.
token usage is really limited, so they don't have a like their token is really limited.
I mean, well, and they're in the business of providing voice. I mean, why wouldn't they be competitive from a pricing standpoint?
Well, everything is actually getting like more expensive over and yeah over days. So cloud also did the same. I mean, Anthropic did also the same thing. Google did the same thing. So the cost and these prices are getting higher and higher every day.
The cost for a voice.
Yeah, voice as well.
What, you're talking about the cost for what is getting higher and higher.
Models, like model issues, token limits.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, Claude's just actually went down because they did a deal with SpaceX to use their servers.
Yeah, then it got higher again, like for some subscriptions.
Huh. Okay. Um, okay. Well, I still did not understand if 11 labs there if
Yeah, 11 Labs has really strong voice models, and they are known to be one of the best natural sounding models in TTS arena and STT arena. So when you look at the benchmark results for voice agents and STT TTS models, then you are going to say that 11 Labs has the best models on these benchmarks. They are all natural sounding, but some companies I have seen that they are not using 11 Labs due to their cost. But yeah, we can basically make a research on it, like whether they're really worth using and paying for this cost. But their models are really strong and real natural sounding.
Mhm. um mhm. I'm wondering if there's like a way to structure it where yeah, I mean have the different voices that are integrated and we could have like a standard and then we could have our customers can choose which model that they want to use. Um, if we're going enterprise or even consumer, like a way to customize it. Well, I mean, they can customize. This is our, the flow brain voice, flow voice. But hey, if you want to choose and you want 11 labs and you want to pay more for 11 labs, hey, it's all yours. We don't care. All they have to do is click, and they have 11 labs plugged into it rather than having whatever else we have plugged into it.
But then they would directly use 11 Labs instead of our product.
They would pay for it. They would pay an extra fee. If 11 labs is more expensive, then we would charge them more for using that. If it's better, and we have and we can't afford it because to provide the best option, um, because we can't afford the losses, or it's a deal breaker for our customers because we're gonna have to charge, $100 a month instead of, $30 a month. I mean, but the customer wants 11 labs and he's willing to pay 100 or 150 or whatever, then let him choose what voice he wants. If it's
Oh,
better.
that actually makes sense. But the thing is that FloLabs also charges us depending on minutes of calls. So they're using so many features, like so many metrics to charge people.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, what I'm saying is, yeah, they would charge us, and we would either charge the customer the additional price, because 11 labs is X amount, using 11 labs is X amount per tokens or whatever, or, and so we charge that same amount more. We're counting their tokens, and or they go and sign up with 11 labs direct, and they're paying 11 labs for that voice, and it's plugged into FlowBrain, into their system, let's say, uh, and so they have a direct relationship with 11 labs if they want to, but it's plugged into the FlowBrain.
Hmm. Yeah, that actually makes sense as well. Yeah.
That model works more if you're thinking about if we provided an API, and and it's modular, and the customer can choose whatever voice or LLMs or whatever that they want from our API. But in this case, we're talking about actually having it on a front end website and allowing the customer to choose, um, directly if they're using our website or Kypo.
Yeah, that actually makes sense. So we can either use the 11 Labs API or agents, but agents have some limitations. Limitations. For example, the charge includes like how many minutes of calls included, like how many concurrent calls will there be. So even if you choose, for example, the Pro version, so you can only make like 20 concurrent calls per month, and it only has like 1,000 minutes of calls per month, and it costs like 100, no, $99 dollar per month. And if you make it like more business level, then it's going to be really high, like $1,000 per month.
Well, I mean, if they've got customers at that price that are paying that, then there must be a market for it.
Yeah, there is, because they are known to be one of the best voice models. Like, yeah, that's why 11 Labs is like the number one in voice agents and voice models.
Yeah, and you're saying that an individual user using 11 Labs that uses it often, is a power user, may be paying $1,000 a month.
Yeah, there are some, most of the companies are using this for like individual projects that, that there are some use cases, but they're mostly using like Orpheus, TTS, and so on, so which are more open source alternatives to this. And APIs cost actually less, like we have speech to text and text to speech models, as well as the agents, like speech engine. So it's like 0.08 dollar per minute, and it doesn't have that much of like limitations, like how many minutes recorded and so on. So it's just $0.09 per minute. So there are also these alternatives. Like instead of
Okay.
using the whole agent, we can also get the API and integrate it on our own system.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm trying to understand what are the use cases for someone which companies are buying those higher versions and willing to spend that much money on voice per user. Um, and because yeah, it's the enterprise market right now. There's, like we saw, um, a ChatGPT, OpenAI, and Claude has 89% of the revenue right now from people, using AI, and and most of that, the majority of that is enterprise. The majority of the revenue is going to enterprise. So maybe that voice, maybe 11 Labs also, their majority of revenue comes from enterprise. And I guess it does because consumers aren't
Yeah,
just buying voice alone. But what enterprises are on the top end, like, I mean, do they have it because their employees are using it internally and it's just such an important thing for them to have? Or, uh, I mean, that would give us some insights as far as like maybe the target market we want to go after. Or if we're offering 11 labs, hey, it might be for this market for doctors and lawyers and something compared to, you know, yeah. But anyway, I don't know. I haven't done any research on, like the main customers of Claude and OpenAI, other than from what I've heard from the podcasts and things, it's I mean, most of the Claude's revenue is coming from coding. That's what they focused on, and that's why they're now so successful because a lot of companies are using, and spending a lot of money. Um,
mhm,
their large enterprise customers are spending a lot of money on I mean, even some of the employees, like a software engineer, apparently is what I heard is like sometimes the employee's salary of a software engineer is uh, they're paying almost the same amount in tokens, as their salary. So um, so I don't know if that's like these power users in the Bay Area and these big companies, and they're like, Facebook. I don't know. They're forcing their employees. I mean, to keep your job, you have to spend a certain amount of tokens. I mean, there's so yeah, I don't know what type of budgets that they have, but anyway, it's all very interesting. And I mean, looking at someone else that's hosting that we can do the testing is one way. The other, after we do that, we could also like host it ourselves, the different solutions. I mean, we need, come down initially, we just need one, you know, I mean, we don't want to open up the Pandora's box, um, and offer a bunch of them right away. I mean, we want to kind of choose one, go down the path, you know, figure that out. And then as we want to expand, I mean, we can kind of think about how we're going to offer multiple voice to, different voice AIs to different types of customers. Um, but we could also test it on our own. So if we have the top three candidates, we host them on our GPUs and we use FlowBrain and we test it out on all three different solutions. Because when we're testing it out, say OpenAI, and we test what theirs is, and we test 11 Labs and test what theirs is, and test somebody else, and on their own platforms, we also don't know what else. I mean, the GPUs that they're using, and a lot of other stuff. We just know, okay, they're using this technology, for voice, but maybe we don't know a lot of their back end and how they do things on, that's different. Um, but I also think, Sully, just if you can do that matrix on, all of these, and, those top frontier models, Perplexity, the GenSpark, those ones, what voice are they using? Because then that will also help give us some insights and, uh, maybe, some, just some direction.
Yeah, and about the use cases like we mentioned, like one of the main customers of FloLabs is Cisco basically. So Cisco has WebEx AI agent and is powered by actually 11 Labs. So their AI agent, voice AI agent is from 11 Labs. And for like the Traba, so they are making these AI interview agents using 11 Labs models. And apart from like Traba and Cisco, what was it? Yeah, EXL. EXL also uses 11 Labs. So to like for their contact center training. So for their contact center, they are using 11 agents actually, and Mahindra as well. Yeah, it was Mahindra. So they are deploying these voice agents with 11 labs to scale the outreach, for example. Some banks like Customers Bank and so on have partnership with 11 labs. So they are basically using 11 labs agents for their voice models. So the use case is pretty big actually. So 11 labs is preferred like in both AI interview or customer outreach, contact centers by some really big companies. And they actually have, for example, a startup grant program by 11 Labs. So they are actually like granting their own models. They are really helping these startups and some companies and actually encouraging them to use 11 Labs models. There's a huge agreement for this. And yeah.
Yeah, probably most of those companies are going to have some startup partnership agreements. They vary differently. I mean, sometimes you have to be funded by a certain venture firm. Um, you know, a lot of times to be part of those, I mean, that's what, or or sometimes it's not. Sometimes they'll also have accelerators and stuff and venture firms, and if they apply, then all their customers can, you know, but sometimes it's hard if we're like a standalone startup. But it varies from company to company. Sometimes NVIDIA and others, they've got a startup program. You can just go direct and apply AWS. That's another thing. We'll have to come back later and go through the process of trying to become part of their startup program with all these suppliers that we're using. But okay, well, Sally, that all sounds good. I think do some more research and then we can move forward on after we test and do the comparison. I think that sounds like the next steps.
Yeah.
Okay. Then that was all we had going on for the past week. Um, I just wanted to make sure, VJ, were you able to read the README file and run the project?
Chandra, can you repeat the problem?
Were you able to read the README file and understand the project structure and run it?
Uh,
You were
yeah,
having
I
some
think,
trouble running it, weren't you?
yeah.
Um, you were talking to Arsema about it. Did you figure it out?
Yeah, I was able to set it up, but I haven't how to try it out.
Okay. Um, let's try to do that this week. And if you have any trouble, let me know.
Okay.
Now, Washing, I want to welcome you to our team. I hope that you understood a little bit on where we at with the project by this meeting. Do you have any questions?
Not yet now. I have watched the project the meeting during my onboarding process. I think it's a very excellent team. Yeah, now I want to also read the GitHub README file and understood the structure and what you are doing out. Because I mean, reading by code is can help me understanding the project faster than the meeting.
Yeah. I added you to the task called project onboarding, and there it has the README file. But basically, what we have right now is the main API. That's the API that the backend will use to connect with the AI pool. And for now, it only has OpenAI integrated to it. So if you ask a question, it will ask basically to GPT. Uh, from the models we're going to deploy, so the vision and the voice models we're going to deploy in Jarvis, then these API will select which model to use based on which is the more appropriate one. But that's where we at right now. Um, tell me, how much do you know about GPUs?
Do you mean GPT or GPU? Uh,
Sorry,
I
can you repeat?
Do you mean GPT or GPUs? I'm not here very clear about it.
I mean GPU.
Yeah, I know it, but about the basic knowledge, not a
Okay.
lot. But I'm willing to study it. Yeah, I'm very interested in those knowledge. I'm willing to study it even during my free time.
Mm-hmm. Because I was thinking you could um set up Jarvis with Sally and Arsema, or you could research the duplex mode with Sally. Which one do you prefer?
I think maybe do the research of the model.
Okay, I will add you to that. Okay,
Yeah.
I added you.
Indra, Wusheng is actually with us full time. So, I mean, you could put him on multiple tasks. Uh, if you wanted to, if you don't have someone else to, have him as a buddy for someone else as well. But between this team, he's going to be working on some stuff in data, on the data team with Sally, and he's also is he on the back end. Wishing, I think you're on the back end team, right? Those are the three teams that you're on. So whatever tasks that you're working on, but yeah, so I think he's pretty motivated. We can and has time.
Okay, I think you can focus on researching and the onboarding, and then after that, um, you can start the deployment of the models we will choose.
Yeah, this sounds great. I like this idea. I also know
Okay,
I think I can try my best to do it. Mm.
yeah, I'm sure you will do it well. Thank you very much, Wusheng.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to add anything else? Nope.
No,
No, I think this is, go ahead, Wusheng.
no. I think now I don't have any idea now. Maybe in the future, when I learn about this project deeply, I will have the questions.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I think this was a really great meeting. There's a lot of stuff we went through and kind of flushed out. And if we don't have the automation working right now to send these recordings to Discord, but if we could do that and just have Arsema and Machi, review these. So yeah, we had a lot
I,
of good information in this meeting.
yes, I will post it as soon as it's available.
Great, great. Thank you. Thank you, Indra. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Great.
Weekend.
Thank
See you.
you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.